Welcome. The scope of this video is to give you insight in what it's like to be quarantined in South Korea in a non-government facility.
All right, we'd like to go over with a few things to expect when you get off your flight into Korea to familiarize you a little bit with what to expect as far as going through the process of being quarantined. So we get off our flight, and the first place we go to, and they're very good at directing you where you need to go, but what was the process here that we went through?
Well, first they had given us a yellow form while we were still on the plane, which was a health declaration. And on that we had to put all of our information if you'd been sick or anything like that. Basically, our quarantine address where we were planning to quarantine, and so
The contact phone number.
which we gave June.
And it's a good idea to have the English version and the Korean version if you can, and have several copies of it to show the people along the way.
Right, of all the addresses and stuff. So they took our temperature there, we handed in our yellow form, and then we moved on to another guy who asked us for a white form, which we had not gotten. So he gave us that. Basically, that form was
Pretty much the same as
Same stuff.
as the yellow form, only it was a white one.
same address, is putting all that stuff in, so we had to write all that down again.
From there, we went to have our download a quarantine app on our phone initialized, so that
Yeah.
they would know where we're at, and we'll be able to use it while we're quarantined.
So that basically they track you, contact tracing and all that kind of stuff. So guys there helped us
Very
get
good
our,
with us, yeah.
get our information.
Put all our
in
information, helped us
for us.
set up.
Yeah, and
But make sure you have the app downloaded on your phone before you get off the plane, or at least before you start the procedure going through the airport.
yeah, they'll help you download it too. I guess if you didn't, we went ahead and did that before we left the States, so we had it on there. We just opened it and they helped us fill out the information inside.
So they filled out our application on our phone app and sent us on to the next point, which was a man that checked
Passports, contact information,
and they wanted us to keep the app open on our phone so they could go through it and double check everything that was put in there. They call the contact person, and they also check your documentation, which showed our relationship to our son,
so we had to take a birth certificate,
an apostle or a postal
birth certificate, Ross, which you could just send into the state. We had a copy of his long-term visa, a copy of his passport, a copy of his residency papers, and we also had a copy of their marriage certificate because they already actually signed a marriage certificate. So they were legally married, and we had used June, our daughter-in-law's phone number, because she's a fluent Korean speaker. So when they called to get information from her, it was a little easier. Our son speaks Korean, but not as well. So, no misunderstandings there. Makes it a little easier if you have somebody that speaks the language.
So from there, we went over to the customs area, and good idea to stick together because we were split, and I had some of the documentation. The person I had, it pretty much went through seamlessly.
But I also think they were planning on putting him on a bus to a government quarantine. And the girl that I had gone to, she pointed to the quarantine. She said, "Do you understand?" And I said, "Well, we're quarantining at my son's." And she says, "Do you have documentation?" Which he had in another line. So basically I had to wait a minute, get him to come over. She went through the same process of checking the birth certificate, making sure our names from our passports matched the names on the birth certificate and all of his paperwork, and then she let us on
Right,
through.
the custom person I had gave me a necklace with a red tag on, which worried me, thinking I was going to
It's
quarantine in a
red tag.
government facility. So we got through customs, we went down to claim our baggage,
Luggage.
which was not a problem since it took a little while. I was there rotating on the carousel. We retrieved our luggage and proceeded out
Into the airport.
into the airport, where we ran into more people who were double checking our credentials, and they questioned it. They called someone higher up for them. I talked to them and explained that our son lives here in Korea, was already married, and he explained to the people that questioned it to look at our documents, and we were finally okayed to go. They asked for my red tag, which I stuck in my pocket because I was
I told them
scared, and I gave it to them. We should have had two of them.
They never gave me one, so.
So after that, they
Sent us to.
put an orange sticker on our sleeves, and we proceeded out to another area where we,
Transportation area,
right,
because you can't, if you're going into quarantine, you can't take regular public transportation. You can't go out and get on a bus from the airport. You have to take either a special bus that's for quarantined people, or you have to take a cab that's for quarantined people. So.
and we chose the cab because we wanted to know that we were going to get there. And like I said, we also had the address in Korean and in English, so it helped the cab driver immensely.
Right, and from there we went, the cab driver was nice enough to wait for us while we got our SIM cards for our phones, so our phones work here in Korea, so.
Right,
Yeah,
we
we
picked
can-
that up after we left the last,
The taxi stand
Yeah.
place.
yeah.
Then it was a 1.5 hour taxi ride from the airport to Ross's apartment, and we came in at the wrong time, so it was like traffic jam coming in. It's usually it still though takes about an hour from the airport into
From
Seoul.
Incheon to Seoul, so, and Seoul's a big city, so it could take you a little more, a little less, depending
what
where
part
you're
of the
going.
city, yeah.
So that'll just give you a little recap of what to expect when you get off your plane, and hopefully you'll be able to get the right documentation, ahead of time if you're planning not going to a government facility.
Which we're glad we didn't, 'cause that would be rough, I think. So,
Hope this helps you out. Here we are at the COVID testing center.
Once again, I'd like to stress that it's very helpful if you have your documentation both in English and Korean. As I get called up to the COVID test, they ask me to verify my information, my date of birth, and my passport number. The COVID test is both a throat swab and a nasal swab.
Okay, so I'm going to show you a little bit about the app that you had to download. A couple things I will tell you: if your phone sits around too long in one spot in your apartment, it will get a warning, so you need to pick up your phone and move it. And also, whenever it gets close to your time to put in your information, the app, the self-diagnostic circle, will be red. So I'll show you that here right now because I'm due to put mine in. And I'll just grab my phone here. And we'll turn it on. Swipe up, and as you can see right there is the app. So we'll press the app. The app comes up and you can see that the self-diagnose is red. So that means I'm due to send in my report. And so all you have to do is tap it. It asks you fever, 37.5, or sense of fever. You hit no. You put in your temperature, which I took, which was 35.9 Celsius. So we'll put in 35 and then the 9. Cough, no. Sore throat, no. Respiratory system symptoms, shortness of breath, no. And then any other thing that you would like to describe if you're having symptoms. After you complete that, you hit end, and as you can see, it will say self-diagnose, cancel or confirm, submit, and we will confirm. That center information says it has been submitted, and you can see that the self-diagnose has turned blue, so we're good for now. So we take it twice a day, a little bit before 10 a.m. and then sometime around 8 p.m. you have to take it. So that'll give you some information on what the app looks like and how it functions. All right, so here's my COVID sanitation kit, I suspect. Just like Christmas. We'll see what's in here. Nice. Instructions.
Great.
We're going to have to get an interpreter because both sides Korean. Okay. Oh yeah, look at that. 99.9% of all germs, hand sanitizer. Good deal. Always helpful. Some nice cloth masks. Ooh, we got 2 more. Not sure what these. These must be the special dine out masks whenever we get out of here. Our Sunday go to meeting masks. Whoa! Digital thermometer. Oh, sweet. We'll show you how to run the app here later on. We both got the same 2 boxes here, one for each of us. And, oh yeah, sanitizing spray. So they don't fool around here. They remind you constantly, we're not leaving this place for 14 days, and we have to get a second nasal swab. And last but not least, I don't know, instructions. Instructions in Korean, Korean, and this one here just shows you how you load the app from your phone. So that's it. I guess we have to take pictures that we read the instructions and what to do and send it back to June, and she'll let them know.
Okay.
There is no cost for the COVID tests, and we were notified within 24 hours of the results.
We got 2 minutes left until our quarantine's over. Just got a text from June. Says our public servant thanks us for our cooperation with our quarantine. So 2 minutes, we're expecting Ross. So happy times.
Get out of here.
Get out of this place.
Time to rock and roll. One last view. Hopefully after today we'll have a different view. It's a nice view. Mountains over there. So Keith, what would you say was your favorite part of quarantine?
The pizza, I guess. Getting out of this place.
Yep.
If you like this video,
Just smile.
smile.